What's up, everyone? Salute at this time with DykeLyfeLounge. And I had to pop out for this video. Okay, I had to do not necessarily a reaction video, but a response, or I guess it's a reaction. But anyway, I just saw a video where the title was something along the lines of studs are going back to men. And my response is no, they're not. Comma. This is the problem that I was talking about in my previous videos, right? Can studs be bisexual? And I think that what we're finding is that there are a lot of women who are masculine presenting. Not to mention that the ladies in these videos are very, very, very young, right? And I believe that they may have found themselves in a trend as opposed to just who they are or maybe a lifestyle. And they may have found themselves in the concept of being a stud because of maybe how it looks, social, all of that, but they really weren't studs. As a matter of fact, they're masculine presenting women who are bisexual, not lesbian. We have to understand that lesbian, there's only one definition for a lesbian, and that is women who love women, women who date women, okay? Not women who date women because they're mad at men. Not women who date women who still kind of mess with men. No, a lesbian is a woman who dates women, period. And if you have these young studs now saying because they're not being treated right, because they're not getting the same feedback or the attention or the spoiling or the this or the that from their films, so now they want to go back to men, they were not lesbians. They were not studs, because in order to be a stud, you are a masculine presenting lesbian, right? And so for the real, true to earth lesbians, the true to earth studs, if they are being mistreated by women or whatever, their option is not to go to men. That is just not a default. The option is to stay alone or to keep searching until you find the right woman. So they already have to have that inkling or that desire or that whatever already within. And this is where the lines are getting blurred. This is where the men are feeling like they're winning them studs over there. And even the studs are saying, that they're coming back. And they're thinking that they're turning lesbians out, when in actuality, they are reawakening what was deep inside bisexual women. Because true mass presenting women, true butches, true dykes, true bulldaggers, they don't mind doing the task of being of playing the masculine role, right? We don't mind that. We don't mind opening up the doors. We don't mind taking out the trash. We don't mind fixing whatever needs to be fixed if we can fix it. Because, being handy isn't just something innately. Well, some of you have to learn. Some of you innately know, but, some of it has to be taught. So we don't mind doing that. That is the whole point and purpose of being a butch, being a dyke, being a bulldagger, being a stud. But there's nothing wrong with these women now coming to the terms that they don't want to do that, but they do want to live a softer life, or not be seen as that. But for them to say that now they're turning back to me, they were never lesbians. They were never lesbians, therefore they were never studs. They were masculine presenting bisexuals playing that role. And that's it. That's all. I mean, and nobody wants a one-sided relationship where you're giving, 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 and the other person is taking, 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 taking. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. But if you're a lesbian, the option is not to go bounce on dick, because you can get a woman. You just have to be patient. You can find a woman that will reciprocate everything that you do. I mean, that's just not the option. That's just like these men saying, "Oh, because the women are treated us bad, I'm gonna go be with a man." Nigga, you wanted to be with a man. Just say that. It's okay. I think that everybody needs to live in their truth. Everybody needs to do what that makes them happy. But we have got to get these terms, the terminology. There has to be a clear understanding of who you are, who you're representing, and that is what's frustrating about the blurred lines with these studs. Because again, now the guys, they already confused, thinking, well, we the lesbians are turning back to us, and that's just not the case. That is just not the case. You have a very, very young population that have placed or found themselves in a role that they weren't really ready to handle. And you have a very young population of women, masculine presenting women, that don't fully want the responsibilities that comes with being a butch. Or a dyke or a bull dyke or whatever or I mean, and actual, when you talk about an actual stud, there's layers to it. There's layers to it. And so, like I said, I just had to kind of pop out and say, do this video, because I understand every aspect of it, right? Because the guy who was reacting to the videos of the quote unquote studs, he was coming from nobody wants the women, even the women don't want the women, and these studs are getting tired of the women and is coming back to men. And I understand that the men, they feel like this particular quote unquote stud was saying that she was doing this, 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 and this, and it wasn't appreciated, and it wasn't, and so I get that, because again, nobody wants to be taken advantage of. Nobody wants to work all day and somebody's laying in their house doing nothing. I mean, it's a partnership, right? It's not a sponsorship. And I think a lot of these ladies do get that confused. But to be real honest, on both sides, you have straight men who don't mind going to work and providing for their woman. They want their woman to be home and, while they work. And they know that their woman's going to be there. At the same token, you have some studs, butch, dyke, bulldaggers, that want their woman at home while they go to work. And so it's a spectrum. I guess, like I said, my frustration is the terminology and the understanding that needs to be had, that if you are a lesbian, you are a stud, you are a butch, dyke, bulldacker, and you get done wrong by women, because women will do the most, the option is not to find a man. The option is to find the right woman or be alone. Because women, lesbians, studs, butches, bulldaggers, dykes don't do dicks. That's just all there is to it. And anything other than that is a bisexual woman. And I think that these bisexual women, whether they're femme or mass presenting, need to be honest with these men and not leading them on, making them think they have turned them out or turned them back out or whatever, when they were already open to male relationships or male sex or male interaction, whatever the case may be. So, like I said, terminology, titles is very, very, very important. And I knew that, confusion would happen. I knew that confusion is going to continue to happen. I think everybody needs to be open, everybody needs to be honest, everybody needs to use the correct terms, everybody needs to live in their truth and what makes them happy, but you have to be open and honest. And I think that because everybody is now claiming to be a stud, I mean, and I've talked about this before, a stud is a masculine presenting lesbian. So in that, not only is there no room for bisexuality because you have the term lesbian there, there's really no room for full lace fronts, lashes, fingernails, makeup, dresses, heels, because that cancels out the masculine presenting. And I think this young group of lesbians or bisexual women or this young group of young ladies who is probably in the process of finding themselves or lumping themselves under a label and a title that has already been established. And they're trying to make it into something that it is not. As opposed to just creating a label, which labels have been created like tomboy or switch or STEM. They've already been created, but they want to lump themselves all under the title or umbrella of stud when they themselves are a walking contradiction to what a stud is. How are you a stud and you got a full lace front on with 9-inch nails, 8-inch heels, a 2-inch mini skirt, and a face with makeup, and you bouncing on dick? That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It's contradictory in turn in life. Oh my goodness. At any rate, that's all I have to say. I guess at this point, I might think of something a little bit later, but as of right now, I guess that's it. And comment, let me know what you all think, what your opinion is on this. All right, y'all. So